The Community is a presentation of the St. Louis Community Credit Union and RareGem Productions. Power up with the positive. Learn more at OneRareGem.com. That's OneRareGem.com. Welcome to the Community.
The St. Louis Community Credit Union presents The Community, a forum for information and resources relevant to empowering our community. Consumer financial education, budgeting, credit, payday lending, community events and initiatives, health and human services, life skills. What's important to you? The Community with Dorothy Bell, Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer.
We all want the children in our lives to be smart, and it doesn't hurt to have them be money smart too. Teaching your children how money works and how to work with it is a good start.
So we actually have to have those conversations and show them, this is why I do this. This is why I try to save money. I mean, this is being honest. The kids in my life, there's some things they don't have choices with. They don't have choices when it comes to saving. They don't have choices when it comes to giving. That's just what you do. Mm-hmm. It's natural. I mean, growing up, I didn't know that college was an option. I just thought it was the next step.
Because that's what you were used to. That's what was modeled in your circle. Learn more right after this.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
Today, what really drives you? What is it that you would do for free every day of the week, 12 hours of the day? We call that your passion. How do you turn your passion into a paycheck? As you look where you are in life, is it where you want to be? Is it a job going nowhere fast? If you are clocking in every day and hate your job, the people you work with or for, and even hate your paycheck, then you're committing career suicide. When we discover that thing that we love to do every day and truly enjoy it, that's passion. Passion is when your love of the job or duty supersedes a paycheck. Are you pursuing your passion? Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at KeithSalesPro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Visit OneRareGem.com for more on demand. OneRareGem.com.
If you or a loved one are discharged from the hospital and need help, call on Mediplex Home Care and Hospice. With our comprehensive home health services, our professional and caring nurses and therapists will come to your home, assess your medical needs, and work with your doctor to design a plan of care. Mediplex is a Medicare certified agency, which means that Medicare will pay for your home health care needs. Remember that you have a choice in home health care. Let your doctor know that you choose Mediplex Home Care and Hospice.
If we're going to tackle the big problems that face our children in our communities today, we have to have a deeper conversation. Let's go beyond the normal talk around town. Join me, Chris Kramer, for Going Beyond every week on Hallelujah 1600.
10 a.m. Wednesday morning. Information and podcast at beyondhousing.org. Welcome to the Community.
You know, there's a popular song by the late, great Whitney Houston that said, "I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way." Well, we can teach children many things, and teaching them the importance of money management should be part of the overall life lesson. Joining me in the studio today is Jaison McCall, Financial Literacy and Community Outreach Specialist for St. Louis Community Credit Union. Jaison manages financial and life skills education initiatives for St. Louis Community Credit Union and its foundation. Jaison, welcome to the Community.
Thanks for having me.
Jaison, talking about kids and money. Now, you don't have to be a parent to bring this up. I mean, if you have a child in your life, if you're a mentor, aunt, uncle, what have you, we want to make sure we're guiding our children on the right path. So is there a good time to start talking to our children about money and how it works?
It is never too early. You want to start right now. You want to start yesterday. 98% of the things that we deal with in life have personal finance tied into it somewhere. So you got to have a conversation. And I once read that seeds planted early bear fruit later. So you got to work with your children. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. I mean, that's really what we're supposed to do. Actually, there's somebody that I follow a lot. His name's Dr. Miles Monroe. He's out of Nassau, Bahamas, actually. And he did an illustration of a train. Mm-hmm. And when we think about trains, we have trains messed up, because when we picture a train, we picture everything, the elongated cars and everything. But the train is actually only the lead car.
Okay. Everything
else is the cars. So when they're saying train up a child, you as the adult, you as the person with more wisdom need to pull those cars along. So if I want to train my child when it comes to money, then they need to come with me and follow me. I need to lead them in the right direction. I need to lead them into the credit union. I need to lead them away from payday loan shops. I need to lead them in any way that I want them to go. So it's all about having some sort of conversation and breaking that barrier because, I mean, it can be confusing.
You know, Jaison, you hit on something right there with the train analogy, setting someone up for success, aligning those cars or nuggets of knowledge, if you will, when it comes to money management. I think it all boils down to modeling. I mean, children watch us do everything. They watch us say everything, and they're one of the best imitators on earth. So perhaps we can have a child with us watching us go shopping, watching us go to work, seeing how we spend money, how we're responsible with it, how we build that overall responsibility. I think that would be important.
I mean, that's huge. It's extremely important. I mean, it's been said that children have been proven to listen with their eyes. So they want to follow. They want to see what's going on. Not only communicate verbally, but you have to show them. Do as I say, not as I do does not work in this generation.
No, because they question everything.
Everything. And then there's going to be a time or two when, they get a little big for their britches. And then you have to, kind of show them. One example that I like to use in classes is the Cosby Show, when it was Theo and the Real World example. When he came home
he wanted
and
to be like regular people.
Right. And he had Millie there and he had, his whole family, and they basically gave him some play money, but they turned their entire house into a city for him. He had an apartment complex. He had to pay rent. He didn't have enough money for it, but he didn't know. He had to build up his credit so he can actually get into an apartment complex. He had to deal with different situations that you don't think about when you're a kid. You don't think about what's really going on because you don't know. So it's up to us to tell them and show them. Right.
And that's all about those choices that you make because you don't think about that. As a child, you see someone else with something and I want this, I want that. It makes me think back to when I was in high school. I'll never forget it. I wanted a Liz Claiborne handbag. Mm-hmm. And I remember it being $80. And my mother distinctly told me, if you don't have $80 to put in the purse, then you don't need an $80 purse. That really resonated with me. So just having that foundation so I know that's my limit. That's my limit. And that's a model that I teach with my children. Sure, there are certain things that you may want, but let's take a look at this. And then when I'm able to purchase it myself, we have more of a sense of responsibility there.
I mean, if we break down, hourly wages and put that with a want, you can be like, okay, well, these, $200 pair of shoes is, 15 hours of my labor or whatever the case may be. Like, that's how you can break that down and be like, okay, well, you go work for 15 hours if you want the shoes that you're not going to take care of. See, that's a whole different view of the actual situation. So we actually have to have those conversations and show them, this is why I do this. This is why I try to save money. I mean, this is being honest. The kids in my life, there's some things they don't have choices with. They don't have choices when it comes to saving. They don't have choices when it comes to giving. That's just what you do. Mm-hmm. It's natural. I mean, growing up, I didn't know that college was an option. I just thought it was the next step.
Because that's what you were used to. That's what was modeled in your circle.
Right. So I had to follow that. And I mean, even breaking down in a class, I know I sat down with a group of people and they were families, actually. It was financial empowerment for your family.
And that was at the CU Excel Center?
At the CU Excel Center last month. We had that and I asked somebody to explain to me, how would you tell somebody in preschool who says from preschool to elementary school to middle school that they want to be a doctor? How do you explain to them that process? Because a lot of times you don't think about it. I got to go preschool, grade school, middle school, high school. I got to take the ACT. People skip that. The ACT or the SAT. Then I got to go to the undergraduate institution. Once I get out the undergraduate institution, I have to take the MCAT. So there's steps there that you don't naturally think about, and those need to be, told at an earlier age so you fully understand the responsibility that comes with the assignment that you're trying to go after.
That makes perfect sense. And that whole responsibility can start with saving, one might believe.
Right. It can start with saving. It can start with service. I mean, that's how you build a family legacy, by building your community. So it's not just about, you. It's not a give me attitude. This is about service. This is about saving. What am I giving to? I can give, to charities. I can give to churches. I can give wherever. But it's all about how can I serve? Because that's humility. It's humility. And humility is huge when it comes to teaching children about money.
It definitely helps shape that character. Let's talk a little bit about the allowance. We hear mixed things all the time about the allowance. Are they good? Are they bad?
I think that depends on the parent, whatever he or she or they as a unit, whatever they feel. However, I know when I talk to individuals, I think of it from this mindset. Allowance versus commission. allowance is more like a reward or you owe me something versus commission is something that I earn. When we go to work, we don't go to work and then they just allow us because that means you don't have to go to work. They just don't give us anything. It's commission. You actually have to work for it. So the difference to me is, okay, it's been a week and every Friday I get money. So it's Friday. Where's my money? Versus on the commission standpoint of it, did you make your bed? Did you take out the trash? Did you wash the dishes? Did you do everything that I asked you to do before I had to ask you to do it again?
Exactly. And you can even take money out of that aspect.
Right.
That can go back to responsibility because when you're dealing with people that may have a little bit of money and they don't have discretionary income to give an allowance, well, teach responsibility. Make the bed. That builds up equity too to go and get other things.
And it becomes habit. So then you're dealing with somebody once they hit their teen years or their young adulthood that they make the bed all the time because they started that when they were 5 years old. I had a bedtime at 8 o'clock and I struggle to stay up past 10:30 now and I'm grown. So, it just depends, what are you trained to do? But we have to be responsible as adults, as leaders, not to run the train into the ground. Meaning you can't give them something just because you want to give children something that will hurt them because they're unequipped to use it.
Right. And they have to be well equipped. I mean, we see it all the time when people go off to college, go into that free T-shirt table and getting that free 2-liter bottle of soda for a credit card that you can't afford. You have to pay more than the minimum payment.
Right. And then you're just taking more out on yourself. I mean, they advertise it. They give you the opportunity. They try to give you a T-shirt and a pizza, as you stated, but then you don't really know how that operates. But then you would look at it a little differently if you realize that the food that you don't want to eat in the cafeteria or the mess hall and military bases or whatever cost you X amount of your tuition. You appreciate things once you put a price tag associated with it, especially when it comes out of your pocket. So we got to be able to break certain things down. Why do we do certain things? Why am I asking you to do this? We're only shaping somebody's behavior. And that's what we're asking now. If we start training a child from the time, that they can talk, possibly even before that, honestly, what to do, we would have less traditional predatory lenders in our communities because we wouldn't run to them.
Let's build on that managing credit aspect because that is so important. Now, I understand that you teach basic credit management courses at the CU Excel Center in Northwood. So how does the role of credit play when teaching our children how to manage their money?
I mean, it's huge. You'll hear conflicting ideas when it comes to credit. Regardless of what somebody believes, everybody needs to know about credit. Regardless, because in today's society, it's a part of the game. So you either know the rules to play it to where it works for you or you don't. The first thing that I tell people, and is actually very somber. Don't allow your kids to start off on a negative slope. Sad but true all the time. I see, different situations to where, a child has credit in their name before they're 18 years old. And that's a somber point of my classes because I have to tell people that this is behavioral. You got to pull anybody, if you have children that are near to you, dear to you, whatever the case may be, before they hit the age of 18, at 17, have them pull their credit reports. They need to pull their credit reports because if there's something on there that is illegal, take action. Come see me at the CU Excel Center. We'll work on dispute letters together so we can get those items removed. We have to prove it, but it'll be removed. Once you turn 18, it's a little bit harder for that to happen because in addition to us proving it, they're going to want you to file a police report.
Oh, and that's got to be difficult, right? It's an uncomfortable situation.
If you're 19 years old and you had a utility bill in your name when you were 14, you have an idea of where it came from. And most people, I've taught thousands of people, and only a handful of them have told me that they will file a police report, which goes all the way back to behavior.
Right.
We have to know when you're building your situation. What about when you want to move into your first apartment? When you want to move, out the house from mom and dad.
They will run that credit
report.
They'll
run your credit report. When you apply for a job. 42 states in this country allow potential employers to run your credit for a job, even if you're not dealing with cash. This is why we need to actually know how this stuff works. I mean, credit is your financial image, and we need to be the best brand managers of ourselves as possible. We teach adults all the time about how to handle credit, how to rebuild credit, how to, take off and get good credit if you never had credit before. We do all of that at the CU Excel Center, and we do that in hopes that it disseminates out and you're able to go out and you tell people because word of mouth is the strongest advocate. But in addition to just seeing the adult, we would like to see the child as well. I mean, we've sat down and been able to talk to to people as they've been getting ready to go to college. First time, people in their family, first time college students. We're sitting down and we're talking to them and we're trying to develop a plan because we're trying to change the behavior. It's not just my behavior or your behavior. Our behavior is going to change everybody who watches you. I mean, they model. So the impact that we have, whether it be, one person that we get to talk to in one-on-one coaching sessions, whether it be, 40 in a group session, we're hoping that it spreads out. So we're trying to invite you to come in so we can learn more about this stuff together.
So what can we do to get started? We know we have the CU Excel Center as a resource for basic financial education and life skills knowledge that we can impart and spread to the children in our lives. But what can we do specifically to help teach our children about managing their money?
The first thing is learning and knowing yourself is key because certain things you're not too good with. So initially for me, when I was learning this for myself, I realized that I didn't need to carry credit cards everywhere because if I saw something and I wanted it, I would get it. And that caused a lot of issues. So you have to know yourself, set up barriers. And then there's some conversations that you need to have. Have family meetings and have them weekly. Sit down and, talk about, well, this is what's going on here and what are our family goals. Put it on the refrigerator so they can see. Do the little thermometer, how they have sales goals in offices. Do the little thermometer. This is how close we are to our goal.
And it's right there.
It's right there. You see it every day. We're this close to, going to Six Flags on opening day. We're this close to doing what it is you want to do.
And you would think that would drive you to want to get to that goal even faster when you can see the fruits of your labor, sowing those seeds as we talked about before.
Right. And then you'll reap a harvest. I mean, looking at that, how exciting is that? When you have your goal, when you have what you're striving for and you see the progress, then you'll do things like the envelope system. The envelope system is when you just take as many envelopes as possible, or as far as your expenses are concerned, you write what expenses would be on each envelope. So you would have like a food envelope, you would have a gas envelope, and whatever the case may be, you would keep cash in each envelope. And when that envelope became empty because of your spending throughout the month, you couldn't purchase anything left in that category.
Okay, so for a child, let's say, we have a little boy that's 12 years old. Mm-hmm. You're saying he could have an envelope for fast food if he wanted it. He can have an envelope for recreation or what have you. Or
right.
Saving for a big goal like a bike or something like that.
Right,
perhaps.
And be as specific as possible because not only are you going to have a big goal like a bike, but then you got to tell me where you're going to get the bike from. Have them do the research so they know. So now they're not just shopping, but they're shopping wisely. Where are you getting the bike from? What's the competition? Search these different areas and arenas. How does this best work? Are you giving? Where are you giving to? What makes you decide to give there? These are conversations. Open a savings account. Come into St. Louis Community Credit Union. Open up a savings account. We have youth accounts. We have our Smarty account for small kids ages 12 and under. Journey accounts from 12 to 16. And then we have Ascend accounts from 16 to 23 years of age. You can open one up for as little as $1. And then think about it. Every time that you come in as a member of the Smarties Kids Club, you get a prize for your deposit.
So the Smarty is the smallest, like kids under 12?
Under 12.
Okay.
So we're working on that behavior right there because, there's always, we put something out there and then you get rewarded. So it's based off your action. It's all about planning. How are we going to plan as a family? Are your kids involved in their college planning? That's a conversation to have. Are they involved? Do they know, well, I have an account set aside for college? Maybe they don't need to know about the account that you have for them, but maybe they need to contribute to their own college savings. Having a college savings account increases the likelihood of that child going to college. So all of this stuff wraps all the way back around with everything that we talk about when it comes to personal finance. We want not only to educate you, but we want to equip you, come into the credit union, and then we're going to see you excel. That's what we're going to do. Educate, equip, excel. Come into St. Louis Community Credit Union. Come into the CU Excel Center. Reach out to me. Contact me. We're 2 doors down from North Oaks Bowling Alley, 95 North Oaks Plaza. You can give us a phone call at 314-385-1586. Let us know. You can come in, you can have one-on-one coaching sessions, or you can have family coaching sessions. What works best? We're here to help you.
The Community, a forum for information and resources relevant to empowering this community, engaging topics that could change your life. Each week at 4 p.m. on Hallelujah 1600. Learn more about the services from the St. Louis Community Credit Union, the St. Louis Community CU Foundation, the CU Excel Center, and our community partners by calling 314-534-7610, 314-534-7610, or click stlouiscommunity.com.
The St. Louis Community Credit Union presents The Community, a forum for information and resources relevant to empowering our community. What's important to you? The Community with Dorothy Bell, Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer.
The Community is a presentation of the St. Louis Community Credit Union and RareGem Productions. Power up with the positive. Learn more at OneRareGem.com. That's OneRaregem.com.
Thanks again for listening.